We are back with one of my favorite guests of the past and one of my favorite guests of the future.
Back in here for the third time with one of my favorite writers, thinkers, personalities, Ryan Holiday.
This is what you need to read. Ego is the enemy. I carry it with me.
The world's best-selling living philosopher whose books have sold more than 4 million copies all across the world.
Please welcome back to the show New York Times bestselling author Ryan Holiday.
I gave a talk to the Pittsburgh Pirates last year, and as I walked into their locker room, there was a quote on the wall. And it said, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgment about things." They didn't know that this quote is actually also 2,000 years old, and it comes to us from Epictetus. If you think you're as good as you can be, in some sense you're right, because you won't get any better. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Nick Saban calls this the process. You don't focus on the end result. You don't think about winning the championship. You don't think about the overwhelming nature of the task in front of you. You think about what is in front of you in the smallest possible increment. Things can go wrong. What's your plan, right? Also, how bad is that worst case scenario actually? We define the fear so then we can actually face it objectively and calmly. How unfortunate it is that all this stuff happens. Then he catches himself and he goes, no, actually, it's fortunate that it happened to me. Stoic philosophy dates back 23 odd centuries. I'm not having to make this up from scratch. There is this fundamental bias in tech, in business, around what's new, because that's exciting, and what we ignore, the opportunity we leave on the table, is the classic stuff that really works. If we thought of the economy as a whole, the vast majority of profits are not coming from the hot new company. They're coming from established, perennial companies that have figured out how to do what they do in a sustainable way aimed at longevity. My editor once said to me, it's not what a book is, it's what a book does. It's about finding the timelessness in the timely. Ultimately, our job as leaders is to inspire, right? We lead by example. You don't just demand that your company's culture have this thing. You can't just demand this kind of change from your industry. You have to model it. That's the question that we have to ask ourselves constantly as leaders. Is this going to make me a better leader or worse leader? Is this going to make our company better or worse? That you control. How many copies my books sell, I don't control any of that. But I control whether I get better as a human being despite all of it. I control whether I am a good leader, a good parent, a good human being, a good neighbor, a good citizen, a good participant in the economy. I decide all that. No one can take that away from me.